Hi, I'm Blair Sun, host of Outside Talk. Since last year, the cannabis industry has attracted a lot of attention in the field of global investment. Whether it is from the implementation of national policies or the practical application of cannabis products, rapid changes have taken place. With me in the studio today, I have Ken Charteris, CEO of the hydroponics company. Ken, very nice to have you here today.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
For most of our Chinese investors who don't know about the hydroponics companies yet, can you please introduce your company to our audience?
Certainly, great pleasure. The hydroponics company is a ASX listed company here in the Australian stock market, which means shareholders can participate in the company. The company is clearly a medical cannabis company with operations being built out here in Australia under the new licensing regime that was introduced just on 18 months ago. We also own and operate a business in Canada, which is our equipment supply company that supports the cannabis sector in the hydroponics equipment, lighting, piping, electrical and service support. So we have, yes, a diverse business. The hydroponics sector in Australia is predicted to grow to 200,000 patients within 2 to 5 years. That represents a revenue between $1 billion to $2 billion in Australia only. So exciting times ahead.
The hydroponics company is now the leading medicinal cannabis company in Australia. So tell us about your state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities in Queensland and why these facilities are unique.
Well, we were very fortunate to acquire this manufacturing facility in southern Queensland. It was built by a European pharmaceutical company. It is a biofloral extraction plant that is ideally purposed for extracting medicines for medical cannabis, which is now legal to be prescribed in Australia. It also allows us to be GMP and TGA pharmaceutical grade product, which means we have a pharmaceutical product at the highest level. It's the only plant of its kind in Australia. To build a plant like this, it would cost you in excess of $30 million. We revalued our plant conservatively at 16.5. Our acquisition price was reported in the market, so we did buy it at a very, very keen price. So the leverage position going forward is exceptional in providing product for Australia and obviously to export internationally.
Your company is ahead of its peers in Australia, so how soon before the company will be producing its own medicinal cannabis products, and how can patients get access to the treatment now?
Well, I'll answer it in probably a couple of parts. First of all, we're very fortunate that we're importing in from Europe the Indoca product. So that has now become available for patients in Australia to be prescribed on what they call the Special Access Scheme. Now, we've launched that in Australia just 4 weeks ago. The Australian produced product, we're forecasting with our new manufacturing plant to be available first quarter 2019. That also then moves on to export second quarter 2019. So the patients now have access. The availability of various drugs will be available to treat epilepsy, Alzheimer's, pain, the list is endless, so at a very high pharmaceutical grade.
Early this year, the Australian government approved a local policy of exporting cannabis products overseas. This undoubtedly is a very good news to the cannabis industry. So what opportunities have you seen for your company overseas?
Well, we have. We're already, as reported in the markets, we're in the process of negotiating what they call offtake agreements to export product to Canada. We're in discussions with our European partners to export to Europe. Now, in this unique position with our manufacturing facility in Southport that no one else in Australia has a facility of this type. It's very critical to understand it's actually a GMP TGA facility of commercial, fully automated, so that gives me the capacity to provide to overseas markets and be what I call a low-cost producer. All the other peers in Australia do not have facilities of that style and not forecast for at least the next 2 years. So we are quite a bit ahead of this, so we can actually capitalise export opportunities.
You've talked about a lot of great aspects to your company's operations. Let's talk more about some of the recent alliances that you have and acquisitions that you've made, as well as those that are on the horizon.
We look at all our alliances as a company. We've covered probably globally the best of the best who have successful business operating in medical cannabis, who have what we call formulations and proven strains. With the Israelis, Bol Pharma, which we're commencing study trials shortly with their product to treat Tourette's, and Doka, who's well known globally as a European company. Again, they've been in the business providing medical cannabis and CBD globally for over 10 years. And a new partner sent out of Canada, who have a very diverse business, again treating patients in Canada, which has a medical cannabis patient number of 300,000, again supporting what Australia will grow to being 200,000. So all our partners are skilled, leverage positions for us. We have caught up to what they call infrastructure build-up in probably less than 18 months. These companies have taken 10 years to get to their positions. We now have infrastructure, a farm facility of 60,000 square metres. We have a manufacturing plant, state-of-the-art, a research facility in northern Queensland. We're licensed, and now we're moving towards ODC permitting. So exciting times, what we've done in a very short period of time.
Your company is not only diversifying internationally, but also diversifying in its product offerings. You currently have over 600 products and 9 established trademarks. And I heard that there's more to be announced this year. So what can you reveal us today?
Okay, when you speak about our product range, that is about our hydroponics business in Canada. Now, this is another benefit we have within our group. Our hydroponics business is actually revenue. So we're one of the few cannabis companies that actually has a revenue stream straight out of Canada. The products we talk about is an offering to what they call the licensed home growers, micro LPs, which is licensed growers, and the large LPs. So that marketplace in Canada we are building on. So we are looking at further distribution agreements with another major company over there, product sharing, as the Canadian market moves aggressively forward into recreational, which increases the supply and demand for hydroponics equipment. So it's a positive.
Across your hydroponics and medicinal cannabis divisions, can you tell us more about your financial position and the revenues? Do you need a capital raising in the near future?
Look, right now, which is well reported in the marketplace, we're not seeking to do any capital raising. We're in a very strong position. We had a capital raising earlier on in the year. We've been very fortunate the way we've built out our business, always mindful of the cost. We have a really smart team. So right now, unless the opportunity arises, we have adequate capital to build out. But it doesn't mean in the future, if the opportunity is there or our plans need to be accelerated, we would go back. But right now, there's nothing planned.
What are the key milestones for the hydroponics company that investors need to be aware of? And what are some of the wider market forces that might be coming into play soon?
Look, I think there's a couple of things that people need. I always go back to a couple of really basics. This is a sector that's growing substantially globally. And I'll just work backwards from some key numbers I think people need to look at. In Australia, it's forecasted 200,000 patients. Canada has 300,000 patients. Israel, that started in medical cannabis, now is at 35,000 patients, growing to 105,000 patients. This is a medical, not recreational or what we call the health food side. Then you look at Germany now, that's legislated medical cannabis. Population nearly 100 million. Their targeted numbers are close to 750,000. So high quality pharmaceutical with efficacy attached to it, the demand is complete. Also, we don't have to market by brand. We're marketing to a product that has a better result in most cases in treating, not curing. So it's a healthier solution, less harmful than existing pharmaceutical products. But certainly the growth is delivered by the support that you see out there, and governments are legislating, a great result.
The last question for today is the hydroponics company is going to China.
Yeah, look, we're presently reviewing all our strategic options. One thing to say is that our company is an international company, and you can see by our alliances, Europe, Canada and Israel. Certainly we've had a lot of interest from Southeast Asia, from various companies, but legislation and product requirements all have to be dealt with. But we're well positioned with IP and a very strong focus on building out in this exciting sector. Great opportunity for all.
Very exciting times ahead. Looking forward to see more good news from you in the future.
Thank you very much for your time.
I would like to thank Ken Charteris for joining me and you, our viewers, for watching. I'm Blairson. See you next time.